Hey Uprisers, welcome to another episode of Upheaval Uncovered. Today we're talking to Lee Jennings of The Funeral Portrait. For those who aren't familiar with The Funeral Portrait, want to kind of give us your elevator eulogy, let us know who you guys are and what you're about.
We're the Funeral Portrait. We are technically based out of Atlanta, Georgia. But we've got guys that live all over the place now. And that kind of comes from the years and years of touring and doing this and people just not being meant for the lifestyle of touring and doing this, and I'm so hyped that that happened because now I have the perfect lineup and we get to do this and we all love it so much. So
Yeah, if there's new listeners coming to the festival, what songs would you suggest they listen to beforehand?
I think Suffocate City is probably the number one song. That's kind of like our anthem right now. That's kind of like the song that's our first song that went number one at rock radio. I think that's a good vibe because it has a little bit of both, because we're like what we call like an emo active rock band, right? So like we have this like My Chemical Romance side, but we also have like this Shinedown side, and that's kind of something that we pride ourselves on is kind of having one foot in each areas at least. And it kind of shows a lot in Suffocate City.
So Suffocate City, Spencer is in that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm literally looking at Spencer walk into the venue right now because we're on tour of Ice Nine Kills.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's super funny that you said that. So that is sick. So yeah, no, we're actually out with Ice Nine right now, on their like Silver Screamathon where they play a different record each night, which is really cool. And that whole situation there was kind of cool because we did it's kind of wild how that happened. So we did he has a horror convention called what, oh my God, what is it called? Why did my brain just fart? He has a horror convention and it's in Boston every year. And it is super, super cool. And if you're into stuff like that, you literally like have to go because it's a little bit of both. It has like a show they do every year. So it's like half music and half like horror. And it is so worth everybody's like days of spending there. It's so much fun. And basically we got to play it and Spencer, he watched us play and we Suffocate City was the last song that we played. And he was like, "What song is that?" He was like, I need to hear that song, send it to me. So I sent it to him and he was like, "Dude, I think, we should collab. I should feature on it." I was like, you don't have to ask me again, So it kind of was like one thing after the next. I couldn't believe it. So
Yeah, and that similar situation kind of happened with Ivan Moody, correct?
yes, and see that's the kind of the thing that you want, right? Is
Right.
you want people to want to be involved, right? And I think that's a big part of it is both of them wanted to be involved. Even Bert from the Used was very similar to that, where it was like it was very just so like we sent him the song and he was like, "Yo, like this is sick. I'll 1000% be on it." Instead of like anything being forced. I think nowadays with the way of social media and everything, I think people just try and force every single thing down each other's throats. And we like everything to be more organic. And don't get me wrong, we still use social media to its fullest,
Hmm.
but I think it's about being organic and it's about being real. And I think that's something that our band, we really pride ourselves on is being real, being a real band and being honest and true.
Yeah, I think the collab feels a lot better when they're coming to you excited about your work versus you trying to like force something that maybe is not the right fit.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. When like nowadays, collabs are everywhere, right? And it's not even just you can go down to, not just the songs, but the songwriting and all of that too, and it's to me, I think it's better when it's real. It makes people want to check it out, listen to it, and we're so blessed that, Ivan even wanted to be involved too of Holy Water. And now that song's at like, I think we heard today it's number 5 at rock radio, which is like insane that that's even up there. The idea that we're even again in the top 10 is just like insane to even think about.
You've obviously collabed with a lot of people. Is there anyone out there that you would love to collab with in the future?
Yeah, I think we have our eyes set on one person in particular, and it's Danny Elfman. So if you know him from, he does like all the composing for, he did like Nightmare Before Christmas. He did all the like the early like 90s, 80s like Batman. Like, there's so much that he's done, you know, over the years. So much, it basically if it's a Tim Burton movie, he's done the music for it, right? And of course, he's an artist himself. He just released a solo record that's like super weird and super avant-garde. And I think I just want to sit in a room with him and be like, here, listen to this and just tell me if it sucks. And if it does, can you just fix it for me? Like that's like as far as even a collab would go, just sitting in a room with him. And I think he just I hope his geniusness rubs off, even just a little 1%, onto the funeral portrait would be insane.
That would be an epic collab. Even just getting feedback on your music or just seeing
Yes.
like how he would go about rearranging one of your pieces, that would be
Yes.
so
It would
cool.
be sick.
So since you're on tour, tell us a little bit about your live show and what we can expect to see at the festival.
So we're pretty theatrical, right? We're adding as we go to when it comes down to the show, so adding, more production and stuff like that. But I think really we're very um larger than life, right? So when we get up on that stage, things are done to the 200%, right? We don't just get up there and just stand there and play, blah, 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 blah. We like to tell the story of the songs and what they mean and why we wrote it or what it is, and all that stuff is so important to what we do as a band. I like that it shows, we will have moments where our guitarist will take his guitar off and swing it above his heads, there's a little bit of everything there.
Is there anything that you would want a fan to walk away thinking after seeing your shows?
I hope that they feel a little less maybe alone. I think that's something huge for us is, we try and include everyone into all of our shows, and that goes from, we got lucky last year and we were able to go out on a huge arena tour. And I mean, we literally played stadiums, we played arenas, we played amphitheaters last year with Five Finger Death Punch. And even on that tour, there were so many families, and there was so many like young kids to 80-year-old grandmas, which was incredible, and I think for us, it's about being included into a group no matter what it is, right? And I think for us, that's what our band is I hope that you can leave your worries at the door or here at the festival, right before our set plays. And you can forget about the world for 30 minutes, an hour, 45 seconds, whatever it is, however long that we're playing, and I hope that they could just be there, be present, and forget what they're dealing with as at least for a little while.
Yeah, I love that. I saw a couple hours ago you posted about mental health awareness, in your story. Would you like to touch on that a little bit?
Course, of course. So like I grew up, I've always been like a bigger guy, right? So I'm over 6 feet. I've always been like heavier set, like big dude. And especially in elementary school and middle school and high school, I got picked on no matter what. It didn't matter what I did. I was just a target. And that came from just being who I am, right? Like I can't chop my legs off and be shorter, right? I couldn't even growing up, like no matter how active I was just a big guy, it's just who I am. And so for me, doing that and just being me, it hurts, right? Because it's different. Like I could maybe not wear something, right? That's okay. You don't wear something, you don't dye your hair or something like that, right? You can control stuff like that, right? You really can. Do I want to? No. Do I tell people to? No. Be you. But for stuff that I was just born with or born to be, that's where I have a problem with, and I didn't do anything to deserve being made fun of and been made fun. I got made fun of by teachers. You know what I mean? Like maybe they didn't mean it like that, but guess what? It was like that, And so when it comes to it, is I love to wave that flag for everybody. I have, some younger family members that deal with the same thing, and I try and take them under my wing and try and really help them. And, I think it's so important to have, people like me that have a little bit of spotlight, right? Like I don't have much. I really don't, right? And that's fine. I don't care about clout or anything like that. For me, it's about trying to every single second of the day wave that flag for the people that dealt with the same stuff that I dealt with. And so making posts like that it's so important to me. So that way people know that like you're not alone in this. Like I am just like you. I just get to hold a microphone on stage every night.
Do you think music kind of helped you become more confident in yourself and owning who you were?
1000%. I spent so much of this band trying to be time in this band, trying to be someone that I'm not, right? I think like pre-COVID, I always wanted to be cool. I always wanted to do this or that, or whatever it is. And I post-COVID, during COVID, I really sat down and I discovered myself. I discovered who I am. I discovered what this band is. I think all of us did. I think it just gets every time that we release a song that means something, I think we all have decided that, this is what the band is. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is us.
Mm.
And it feels great to be me for once in my life. And every time I go to rediscover myself, because it's ever changing, you're always changing, you know, I get a little bit more and more me.
Mhm. That's awesome. We are always growing and figuring it
Yes.
out. So I asked our fans what kind of questions they would ask you, and of course, the overwhelming responses. What inspired you, and how did you come up with the name?
So what inspired me? I grew up going to a million shows, of course. Like I am one of those kids that I went to as many shows as I could, and especially at the mid 2000s emo, like the My Chemical Romance, the Used, that kind of stuff. And I think, for me, I wanted to do a band that brings the vibe of that back, because there was something about that. There was something special there pre the internet being what it is now, right? Being so important that you show up to those shows because it means something, right? And you're involved in the show. You're just as important as the band being there. And so I really wanted to bring that back. And with the band name, it was kind of funny. This band's been around for 10 years, and I really just wanted something that was different, right? I wanted something that didn't have words that was used by every single band. I wanted it also to be able to maybe be shortened every once in a while. So to just TFP, stuff like that, like, because I grew up loving like AFI, and for me, like, the idea of having a name that maybe one day we could just shorten to TFP, or people could just say TFP, I went to saw TFP last night, or whatever, and people get it, right? And so that's kind of where the name kind of came from, of being like, well, what's something that kind of works both ways.
There's definitely nothing like the Warp Tour local show days. So
Yeah.
I love that you guys tried to emulate that energy. Um, let's see, what else did they ask? What was one song that you finished and you thought this is the one?
Think it was Suffocate City. I think it really was, right? I think Suffocate City and Holy Water, I think both of those, I think Holy Water we kind of held on to because we wrote that back in like 2018, and then we released it in late 2019, and then COVID hit and it kind of got shelved for so long. We couldn't really promote it, we couldn't do much. And then now it's like finally having its day, and I think we're like, oh, okay. But I really remember writing Suffocate City and being like, guys, this is the one. Like we all know like this is the one, right? And everybody was like, yes. And a new one, I think. There's this new one that we have for the next record already, because we're already working on the next record. I can't spill any beans at all because I'll get in a lot of trouble with not just the label, but like us as a band. Like we're keeping everything from here on like super secretive. So there's this new song, and I listen to it like every day. I'm like obsessed with it.
So lots of good things to come in the future.
Yes, I hope. I hope. At least for me, I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
I'm like hyped on it.
And I feel like you yourself have to be hyped up on the music for other people too. So
1000%. Well, we write for ourselves, right? So we write, especially now, we write for us, right? We write for what's inside here to get out. And, for us, we feel like when we enjoy it and we love it as much as we do, everyone else will as well.
just some rapid fire. What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, I'm wearing it right now. House of the Thousand Corpses. So
Perfect.
literally, it's this Broken Promises like House Styles of Corpses collab. It's so sick.
What is the most interesting fan interaction you've had?
I signed a bleach bottle.
Oh, nice.
Yep. There's a lot of wild stories, but I love telling that one of literally we played a show in Nashville and this girl was like, "Can you sign my bleach bottle?" I'm like, "This is okay, sure. How did the venue let you bring this in here?"
Yeah. Was it full?
It
Hopefully.
was,
It was. Oh,
thankfully.
you've probably heard of the game Two Truths and a Lie, but I would like to play Two Truths and a Skinny Lie.
Oh, ha 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 ha. That was funny. That was good. Good job.
Uh, so let's hear what you've got.
Two truths and a skinny lie. Okay. Um, okay. This is hard. This is really hard. Okay. Two truths would be the first song we ever went we are the second band ever to have a number one at rock radio with the very first song we ever released at radio. Okay. Number two is my real first name isn't Lee. Okay. And for the third one, it is the name of our first tour van was the Doom Buggy.
I feel like your Skinny Lie is your name.
So my name is Lee. It is Lee. So it is. Yep. Lee Jennings, that is me. So, but people think, oh, what is Lee short for?
Yeah.
Leonardo, Lee, Leah son. I mean, I've heard everything that you could ever imagine. People not think my name's Lee. So
But Lee Jennings is such a good frontman name.
it works, right?
Yeah.
It's very proper too. I feel like a butler every single time I say it.
Yeah.
So
I feel like whenever people are in your position where they have a name like Lee Jennings, or it just, you just hear it and you're like, that person was born to be something. It's just, you were called to
yes,
do this.
I love that.
Well, cool. That's all I have for you. I'll let you
I
get
love that.
to getting ready for your show tonight. But thank
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I'm super excited. We're so excited to play. All right. Bye.